As a nonprofit hospital, San Juan Regional Medical Center is a values-driven organization. We strive to deliver on our mission to personalize health care and create vitality and enthusiasm in healing. We are here for you when you need us, offering a comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and emergency care services. .34 KSJE, you're listening to the Scott Michlin Morning Program. Good morning, everyone, and once again, thank you for tuning in. Those of you who are watching our streaming video program on the KSJE Facebook page and YouTube channel, we are showing you this is not a scene from Farmington or Aztec, New Mexico. This is actually New York City and Bryant Park, the skating rink at Bryant Park in New York City right now, where you can see they're having a lovely, mostly sunny day today. Temperature at the moment is 29 degrees at the skating rink, and they're looking at a high of about 37 degrees later on today in New York City. Compare that to Farmington, New Mexico, outside our studios here at San Juan College, where we're expecting a mostly cloudy day today, and the high 43 with a chance of flurries starting up this afternoon and on into this evening. More chances for rain or snow overnight tonight with a low of 35. 45 for a high tomorrow with rain showers in the forecast. Then partly cloudy skies on Wednesday night with a low of 26. Partly cloudy and 43 on Thursday, but then more chances for rain or snow developing Thursday night on into Friday. Again, my guest this morning from the Aztec School District, and we are joined by not one, not two, but three elementary school principals. So I'm on my very best behavior, and thank you all very much for coming in this morning. Good morning, everybody. Let me introduce them to you. First of all, we have Lauren Laws, principal from Park Avenue Elementary School. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming in this morning. Also joining us here in the studio is Dana Stanley, who is the principal at Lydia Ripley Elementary School. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here as well. And Tasha Fernandez from McCoy Elementary School, the principal there. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good to have you all here to talk about your jobs. And we're midway through the school year, so things going pretty well in all of your schools?
Wonderful. Yes.
Very good.
I think we're on to the right track.
Good to know. And so there are some changes being talked about, right? And some changes for Aztec schools, being that you all had or now have some pre-K opportunities for residents, right? And talk to me a little bit about how that is working.
Yeah, so this year we were lucky enough to get two preschool classes funded. There's one at McCoy and one at Lydia Ripley, and they each serve 40 kids, 20 in the morning and 20 in the afternoon. And it's the first time that those kids have actually been in our schools, so they get to see what the school's like. They get to, see the other teachers, interact and things like that, and get the elementary experience. The teachers are really using a focus criteria which works on family engagement. They get to work on their social emotional and then deal with the literacy elements and other academics. So trying to get them ready for kindergarten, but in a fun way.
Right, and so your students at the pre-K at your school and the ones at your school, Tasha, also then kind of feed into Lauren's school. Is that how it works?
Yes, she's a 4-5 school, 4th and 5th grade, and we're pre-K through 3rd grade.
I see. Okay.
Right. And so the preschoolers that are at my school are actually going to go to kindergarten at Lydia Ripley, and then the preschoolers that are at McCoy will actually feed into McCoy's kindergarten. So we'll have 40 kids that have actually been in the school and kind of know the system, whereas before we never had any of that opportunity.
Got you. And that should work well for these students, right?
Right. It should be a great benefit because then the parents will have, been in the school and have met me and have seen how the school works. The kids, it won't be a new thing. They'll know like where the cafeteria is and those kind of things, and know the expectations that the school has. So it should be a great thing for our kindergarten classes that they'll actually have 40 kids that understand the system.
Right. And Lauren, let me turn to you a little bit and ask you a bit about how that works when the kids come from the other schools and then come to join you at your school, Park Avenue.
Sure. So something that we're working to implement this year, K-5 or pre-K-5, is the PACS program. So it's called the PACS Good Behavior Program. And unlike most things in education where we have acronyms for everything, PACS actually means peace. And so really we're working to create peaceful and productive learning environments for students. And that's something that pre-K through 5 now we have a common language among us, which is we're excited to see as they continue to transition to Park Avenue. And really it's a program that's teaching students to self-regulate and manage their behaviors, and then ultimately we'll see an increase hopefully in their academics as well. So with that, we're truly focused on the positive behaviors that students are exhibiting in class.
Right.
And
we hear a lot about the importance, or at least a lot of people promoting the idea of early childhood education and preschool and these types of opportunities for kids, especially in a state like New Mexico, where maybe some of our families are poor, or kids are facing other economic hardships or social hardships in their growing up years and things like that. Is that part of the reasons to offer this as well in Aztec schools?
Well, and the reason, too, that the preschool is great in the elementaries, if we see a student that's struggling academically or anything, we can identify them and get them the special education services that they need, be it speech or whatever, so that we don't waste so much time. We get them identified and we can get them right into the services they need. And then with the PACS program, all of our kids know the same thing, so they're not having to relearn a behavior system when they transfer to Park.
Important to have it all kind of working together, I suppose, right?
Yes.
For these kids. And these kids then are younger, obviously, than the normal kindergarten age kids, right? Because they're coming to you at a younger age, right?
Yes, they have to be 4 when they enter, so they had to be 4. And then we also have some 3-year-olds that come in a different program that's for students that have already been identified with special needs. They have a 3-year-old class.
And I'm remembering correctly that this just started with this academic year at Aztec Schools, this new preschool program. So again, you're about, what, 4 months in, and so far so good?
Awesome.
With all the kiddos, and they seem to be doing well. I mean, you don't test them probably like other kids, but are you able to tell how they're doing and how they're understanding these concepts that they're being introduced to and things like that?
Yes, they have it's called ECOT. Of course, there's our acronym.
Of course, there's an acronym. Why not?
Early Childhood Observation Tool, and that's also used in kinder, but our pre-K teachers use it as well, and that's just an interactive type assessment to really see if the kids are making improvement on their learning goals.
Very good. And go ahead. Were you going to add something else, anybody? Okay. And for their parents who are wondering how their child is doing, or if this is a new concept of sending their kids to school at an earlier age or getting them ready for kindergarten, I mean, there's a lot of studies, I think, that show that kids do succeed or do better in the earlier grades, right, if they're exposed to some early childhood education or some of these programs that we're talking about this morning?
Yes, in the preschool they do a lot with family engagement. So they go before school even starts and met them at a home visit, and then they bring them in for lots of family engagement and activities like that. So they make the parents very comfortable with school, which helps us all the way through, because if the parents are comfortable coming in, we can keep them involved in the education of their children. Right.
And again, some of the concepts that they're talking about in the preschools would be, what types of things are you teaching?
Well, they involve literacy,
okay,
of course, at the appropriate level for their age group. They also have a focus criteria they use. They have certain essential indicator rubrics that they use as well. And so that is a balance between academics and then social emotional.
Gotcha. And there's some other changes, too, coming up with testing that we were talking about before we came on the air, and that's a favorite topic, I know, of teachers everywhere and administrators everywhere, right, is teaching. But what are some of the changes that are coming up?
Well, they did release, by they, I mean the PED department, our New Mexico
the Public Education Department.
Yes. They released webinars yesterday. So
this is breaking news, everybody.
Breaking news.
Right, here we are. Okay.
Fresh.
Right.
And what they're calling that is the New Mexico Standard-Based Transition Assessment, and that'll take the place of our Park assessment. It will still be for students from 3rd through 11th grade.
Okay.
And what their big ticket item was, they want comparability results to continue. So it's Park-like, but it's not quite like Park. It's a new assessment design, but we will still use TestNav. It's a certain software we use for Park, and it will continue to evolve. And we'll as the years progress, we'll still be basing it on the Common Core state standards.
I see. And this is something that the new governor had said that she would like to change, and she did. I don't know how many minutes it was after she took office that she signed the order to change the park test that's been in place for a number of years. And is the idea to change it out by this March, when the park is usually administered, or April?
Yes.
Into this newer designed test?
It'll take effect. I believe our testing window is April 22nd through May 10th, and it will take effect. So as we go, there'll be PowerPoints and other webinars to help gear our teachers and students on the way they should go.
Okay. Interesting. And there were other two of you. I mean, how do you feel about this change? And we don't have to get political unless you want to, but I know a lot of folks love to hate the park, or they thought the park was an important measurement. I mean, again, I think testing's always got one of those love-hate relationships, but how do you know if the kids are learning what you hope that they are learning if you don't test them?
Right, and with it just coming, like, we don't really know that much because it was just released. Some positive things is that it does look like it's going to be shorter, which is always a good thing, because our third graders, it's the first time they've ever taken a test, so it being shorter, it causes less stress. But, I mean, the main thing is we need to know how the kids are doing, and the way that families can help us is, make sure that it's a way for them to show us what they know. It's, go show your teachers and everyone how smart you are. I mean, there might be things you don't know, but that's okay. We have time to reteach that. But that it's not a bad thing, that it does help us know what kids know, make sure they're getting good night's sleep. It's not a stress thing. It's you're just going to go show somebody what you know.
It shouldn't be a stress thing.
No, it shouldn't be
Right.
a stress thing. It should just be, you're going to go in, show the teacher what you know, and it'll all be good.
All right. Lauren Laws at Park Avenue Elementary School, talk to me a little bit about your students and testing. I know, and for all of you, I'm sure some students get a little anxiety when it comes to testing. What's your advice for them?
I agree. We try and just remind students that this is just another way for them to demonstrate their knowledge to us. We really do try, and we have started last year where we play a song over the intercom, and like a kind of Rocky Balboa type song, and just get them excited to get into the computer lab and test, because it is stressful. And for our students that are 4th and 5th grade, there is a lot of typing required and those kinds of things. So preparing them as much as we can beforehand is important, and getting those students into the lab, exposing them to park-like questions, and just ensuring our instruction along the way is at the rigor it needs to be and the level it needs to be. Will help ensure that they're successful regardless of what the test is.
Sure, right. And Tasha, you mentioned that the idea behind this new transition assessment is that it would still be able to be compared to past results from the actual park test. Is that the idea?
Right, yeah, that's one area in which the state really wants to continue with consistency, to really see the trends if students are making progress academically.
Because I suppose you can get into the problem of trying to compare apples to oranges if it's not compatible, and that would throw off a lot of other things, because we know there's a lot of things that are still based on those test results from those students, whether it's school grades or teacher evaluations or all that stuff for now, even though they may change in the future.
That's right.
And that's the idea.
Yes, it's all interconnected in one way. We haven't had any information on how school grading or anything with teachers' evaluations will be tied together with this assessment, but I'm sure that will be forthcoming.
Indeed, I would think so. And of course, there's a new governor. There's a new public education secretary. There are some new employees that are moving into these jobs, and it sounds like they have a big job to do to develop this test between now and April.
Yes, they do.
Everyone?
And they do have blueprints online. They're not connected to the park, but they do have your average blueprint for what ELA and what the math will look like. They have some simulation activities that you can do to help prepare your students. And they have testlets now, which is something new where teachers can actually create a testlet online through their system and have kids practice and use those online tools to help them.
And for all of you who are principals, I mean, again, getting this out to your teachers and hearing back from them, do you get a lot of feedback from your teachers? Do you want to get feedback from your teachers and hear what they have to say about some of these changes? Because it really is up to them to implement them in the classroom with your kids, right?
Right, and I think it's important to get feedback from the teacher, because we're the principals, but the teachers are the ones that are in with the kids and really know. And I would say our teachers, or at least at my school, they gave us feedback, and we were allowed to, the state asked for feedback, and we gave it to our district test coordinator, the feedback. And, it was pretty much, can we shorten it up a little bit? And it's hard for third graders to do so much typing, and that was pretty much their main things was, can we shorten it up a little bit and kind of lessen the typing? But I think we all got feedback from the teachers, and that was pretty much what they all said.
Sounds like they're listening, at least at the moment.
At the moment, yes.
To what you're saying or what you're being told from your teachers and things like that. Other opportunities for teacher salaries and things like that. We keep hearing the state legislature, they might want to increase teacher salaries. Is that a good thing? Principals?
Excellent.
I think it's always a good thing. I mean,
we have a unanimous decision.
Yeah, that is a
I knew that as
thing.
asking the question that you'd all probably agree with me. So,
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
but the elevated conversation about public education in our state, I mean, that can't be a bad thing either, can it? To try to find ways to improve outcomes with your students. Anybody?
Right. I mean, we're always
Lauren?
looking for ways for students to grow, and I think teachers, ultimately, that's why they're in education, and they will do whatever it takes, regardless of their salary. They're really there for the students, and I think we see that
Right.
day in and day out.
Yes.
It seems to me that teaching is a lot like broadcasting. You get in it because you love it, not necessarily to get wealthy doing it.
Right.
Definitely. And it's a lot of long hours and away from their own families to go and help other kids. And I think that's something we need to admire from all of them is how they put their hearts and souls into teaching and wanting to do what's best for kids every day.
Sure, indeed. In the minutes we have remaining this morning, other pieces of advice for parents who are listening or watching us this morning and what to do with their kids as they wrap up the school year here in the next 5 months or so. What would you say?
I would say continue to be involved in your child's both academic and any other part of your education and school. I know K through 3 schools have a lot of parent involvement, and that's something at Park Avenue that we strive for, and I can go to these too for advice. So parent involvement is always appreciated, and so continue to be involved.
That's really important. Sure. And Dana, what about you?
I would just say say ditto the same thing, be involved and know that you can never read to your kids too much. Please read to them and talk to them and show them that education is important.
Sure. And I suppose if they're old enough, have them read to you.
Yeah, I mean, read to you, but you can never read to a kid too much or have them read to you. There's never too much of that.
Okay, very good. Tasha, final word from you this morning.
For parents, I would just say incorporate within their everyday life experiences, talking with the kids about what they've said is talking parents equals talking kids. So that is highly important. Talk with your kids in every chance you get, whether you're walking down the hall, driving in the car. Hey, what's that? What shape is that? Just continue that all the way through college, and your kids will really appreciate it.
Very good. Good advice. Thank you all very much for coming in this morning. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Have a good rest of your school year, everybody.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. My guests here, elementary school principals from the Aztec School District here on KSJE. And I'll be back with more in just a moment, everybody. The time right now is 8:51.
The Democrats in 1924 went to New York City to pick a nominee. In 14 hot, muggy summer days, they nearly committed suicide.
A Moment in Time with Dan Roberts.
The peculiar election system of the United States requires a presidential candidate to assemble a majority of votes in the Electoral College. This is one of the most important reasons why a huge and diverse society such as the U.S. has only 2 major umbrella-like parties that force political groups to work together to achieve that magic number of 270 electoral votes. Perhaps no political party in U.S. history has demonstrated this centralizing inclination as has the Democratic Party. Since its founding by Thomas Jefferson in the early 1800s, the Democrats have squeezed under their crowded tent poor people and union members